Welcome to Awaken Sovereignty, a solo cast on ascension, shadow work, empowerment, and alignment with your highest purpose. I'm Chris Pinckley, spiritual coach and guide for those moving through deep awakening, transformation, and personal evolution. Let's begin. In this episode, caring is action. This is probably going to be a short one. The motivation behind this episode is the sort of proliferation of social media and online trite gesturing done by sort of the masses, the hive mind. And it's created a world where we're not just disconnected, but the act of actually caring, investing energy in another human being is becoming more and more scarce. And one of the ways that this manifests is through a lot of sort of telling people instead of showing people is the best way that I can kind of describe it. You know, just the art and the act of telling someone that you love them. I love you. Telling someone I love you. And really showing someone that you love them are two different things. Now, I don't want to be dismissive to telling someone that you love them because that's a powerful statement. That's a powerful phrase. And with enough intention or real intention behind it, can even be transformative to somebody that didn't know that they were loved or loved by that person. So I don't want to be dismissive to that. But words are absolutely hollow in comparison to a physical gesture demonstrating the intention or, the meaning behind the words, unless you don't mean it, right? And a lot of people these days, there's no intention behind it. If anything, the intention is to sort of either garner attention for themselves. And, when somebody says, my thoughts and prayers to such and such family who just lost such and such person. I mean, it's a pretty hollow gesture to put that on social media and say that. And I don't mean to alienate anybody. Some people say it and they mean it. But generally speaking, the person who does that is looking for attention for themselves. And this is probably going to be, hopefully this is validating to more people than it's offensive to. But it's truly hollow in comparison to even writing that person a little note. I mean, unless you don't know them, unless they're complete, total and utter strangers to you, then you really are probably just trying to garner attention for yourself. But if it's somebody that you know, instead of putting like a little prayer hand sign on social media, why not send them a message? Or why not show up at their house and give them a hug? Why not send them a card? Do something, take some sort of action. Instead of just mouthpiecing some trivial, meaningless, trite, hollow utterance of words that have no intention behind them. Another way of saying this is if you really, really care for somebody and they're going through a hard time, or maybe they're your partner and they come home after a long day and you say, hey, I love you. That's great, but it is absolutely meaningless compared to a big giant hug uttered or accompanied by the same words. Now those words have meaning, but if there's distance, if there's space between you and you say it, it has no meaning. This person just got home from a long day and you say that, but there's no hug, there's no touch, then there's no compassion, there's nothing. It's meaningless. I'm sorry, but it's utterly and completely meaningless without physical touch, without action, without intention, without all that stuff. They're just words. They're just hollow words with zero meaning. I think personally, I know a lot of people love this book. I'm probably going to offend some people. I don't mean to, but I'm just going to be honest. I think the 5 love languages is one of the worst things that happened to the world because it validates people's inability to be emotionally vulnerable and to allow people in to express love and to receive love. And it makes it so that somebody can do take some sort of other type of action other than giving somebody a hug, looking them in the eye and telling them they love them, which is the number one way to express love, by the way, and has a billion times more meaning than anything else, than any other way you could express love. I mean, of course, there are outliers. If you sacrificed your life for somebody, or somebody is on the street and they need a place to stay and you really, really care about them, so you let them stay on your couch. I mean, of course, these are ways of also showing somebody that you care, that you have compassion, that you love them. Obviously, there are outliers. But as far as just day-to-day activity, there are too many people that think it's okay and go through their entire lives without actually being loving to each other, because now they have this excuse in the 5 love languages to not take the real connective, deep, intentional action of giving somebody a hug, just putting your hand on their arm, looking them in the eye, telling them that you love them, while closing the distance in space so that you're not some stranger 10 feet away saying it. These words may seem harsh to some people. And perhaps, I don't mean to pick on the 5 love languages. And again, there's going to be a lot of people who listen to this who love that book. And I don't mean to offend or alienate anybody, but really think about it. Think about, do you really want to, close the gap and finally show somebody and connect with them that you actually love them? Or do you want to use some sort of, distancing codependent mechanism to never truly face those inner emotions and feelings that are keeping you from doing that? Your relationship will never be authentic until you're able to hold each other. That's an absolute fact. And look each other in the eye and say, I love you. You don't have a real relationship if you can't do that. That's just a fact. That's just an absolute ironclad fact. And it doesn't mean that you don't have the foundations for a partnership or relationship, but you just haven't. You don't have the deepest possible connection with that person. And so really caring is really taking an action to close that gap. And I'm telling you, when enough people start to drop all the sort of codependent placeholders that we put in place of actually really, truly demonstrating that we love somebody, and we start actually really, truly demonstrating that we love somebody, I'm telling you, that will transform the face of the planet. When all those distances and all those gaps are closed and people are actually hugging each other and telling each other how much they love each other in close proximity instead of from across the room, the world will change overnight. All right. Well, hopefully you're still with me after that. Hopefully you know that I care about you and I care about all the people who listen to this, and I only want the best. And I don't mean to be dismissive to that book, because it probably did help a lot of people. It validated some people and said, hey, I'm actually a more loving person than I know. Maybe that was a good thing. But you don't just leave it there. Take the next steps. Start to close the gap. Show that you have compassion. Demonstrate it by closing the gap and being close to and near that person, right? Anyway, take good care, and we will talk to you soon. If this episode resonated with what you're moving through, and you're interested in private spiritual coaching around awakening, emotional integration, shadow work, relationships, boundaries, or building a soul-led life and business, email me directly at rc101coaching@gmail.com with the word coaching in the subject line. You can also find the contact link in the show notes. Follow Awaken Sovereignty for future episodes and share this with someone moving through their own awakening. This is Chris Pinckley. Stay awake, stay aligned, stay sovereign.